You've probably been hearing a lot about what's happening with real estate in the news. I know it's all over. The prices are crashing. This is falling. Everything is really coming to a head. But what is really going on behind it? I think that's the important question. So I will cover that today. I'll show you why this is important for you, your money, and the debt that people are experiencing today as a result of these increase in mortgage rates. So we'll look at that and then we'll talk about what's happening with individuals and what you can do. Let's begin by taking a look at home prices cooled in July at the fastest rate in the history of the S&P Case-Shiller Index. So you look at this and it is a simple explanation that obviously when you break it down city by city, it's going to tell a different story. But as you could see here, they just show us that the 10-city composite rose 14.9% year over year, down from 17.4% in June. So prices accelerated dramatically over the last year, but we break it down city by city and it starts to tell a different story. This is just showing us that the month over month change, the first time since in 2012 that we've seen a month over month change to actually be in the negative, if you can believe it. I mean, it's just incredible to see the boom that was created after such a big hit during the housing crisis. This is broken down here, 1 year price change percentage by metro area from February 22 to July 22. And you look at that Tampa right at the top of the list, breaking it down. All I wanted to show you here, if you're interested in the different months and what has happened. Some areas different than others, but I think it's important to really highlight where the excesses are. The 10 cities where housing markets are cooling the fastest in 2022. Right at the top of the list is Seattle. Beyond that is Las Vegas, San Jose, San Diego, and beyond. So we look at this right now, and I believe some of the areas, for instance, in Florida, if you look at Miami, if you look at other places that are absolutely booming. Why? Because jobs are moving there, number one, and also a lot of the corporations, along with that, of course, the jobs, a lot of the corporations that are coming from New Jersey, New York, and other places are opening up new offices, so commercial real estate in Florida as well. That's just one of them. We see that same thing happening in Arizona somewhat, looking at Texas, even Tennessee, and some other places. So obviously what we have here is a difference, a big change that was not there before. Okay, we're starting to get major disruptions when you look at what's going on with real estate. Here we have it. Home buyers are backing out of contracts in the Sun Belt, especially in Las Vegas, Phoenix, Tampa, and Texas. Housing buyers nixed pending sales in August in Sun Belt cities like Jacksonville, San Antonio, and Orlando, among others. It just shows us right now that a lot of these businesses are saying, you know what, we're just going to wait it out. And why is that the case? Well, of course, you've been seeing interest rates rise. That has a direct impact on mortgage rates and the ability for not only individuals, but businesses, corporations as well, how much they can take on. It affects everybody. And you see it directly right here. Yes, mortgage rates are now over 7%. This is an explanation of how it's all, calculated and this and that. Whether or not it's exactly 7 or 7.2 or maybe it's 6.5, the point here is that mortgage rates have gotten to the level that many people said, no, impossible, not going to happen. Fed won't let it happen. But here we are today. I show you this over and over again to basically explain that this is inevitable through the cycles. All I do is I study the history, I see the patterns, I look at the actions, I see the central banks, and then I break that down for myself. And once I got that worked around in here, I could then try my best to bring that to you. And you see right now 7% on a mortgage rate. Basically, people are saying, I can't do it. I simply can't do it. Why? Because that average mortgage payment, forget about the size of the home, the actual cost of the total mortgage. Not that, but look at specifically when, the monthly payments, because that's all people look at. They say, oh, I can afford it, monthly payment. Sure, it's $1 million, but, monthly payment is this. Well, this is the problem, because the monthly payment is now twice as high as what it was just a little while ago. So people are just unable to get what they once did. That's what's going on today, right before our very eyes. And then, of course, you see the effects of this. So that's what we'll talk about here in the coming charts and articles, nearly 70% of Americans are looking for extra work to combat inflation. So you could say, hey, same standard of living. Oh, but after I finish work, then I go work on my side hustle just to keep up. Well, then I got to drive Uber just to keep up, or deliver Uber Eats just to keep up. So is it the same standard of living? Of course not. This right here is showing us that hunger is spreading among Americans with steady but low paying jobs. And I have shown you this before. The median salary for individuals, I don't have that in front of me now. It's something like 35,000. 35,000. With inflation going off the charts, many people simply cannot afford to live. That's the way this goes. And that is heartbreaking, to say the least, but it shows you how far prices have risen and where salaries are. Yes, some people did get a raise. Some people are going to get another raise. But when you look at it overall, not enough individuals are able to make ends meet. Forget about prospering. Forget about doing so well. No, just to be able to make ends meet. And that's happening today, right now, okay? Nursing aides, maintenance workers, store clerks, roofers, among the Americans already turning to food banks for help. This is why I talk about all the time that people need to. It is not a nice to have. People today, they have two options, and I will bring this out in a further video. I'm gonna make a whole video about the way that I'm going to structure all videos now, which I basically have been doing, but more with intent. Two things, okay? And you could do both. One is you go off grid, you do self-sufficient, you go that route. Or individuals will go the other way, and that is to build a scalable business so that while you're working your 9 to 5, you're able to work on this thing on the side that basically makes money when you're sleeping. Okay, that's a scalable business and doesn't necessarily need you to be there on a 9 to 5 basis. Or a high income skill. And a high income skill would be something that far, far outpaces inflation. And there are many, high income skills. I will do a video about that as well. But these are the things that people need. Look at this. Next thing. German minister sees nuclear extension as increasingly likely. Why? Because look at what happened with natural gas. Oh, we were going to get rid of this nuclear. It's not good. We want to do, all these, wind farming and solar. Oh, but we kind of messed that up. And then, we want to buy natural gas from practically just one source. And then we're going to have, a problem with them. Nord Stream 2 cut it off. What do you think's going to happen? Okay, so they're now bringing the nuclear back up and running. We'll see what happens with that. I've told people for a long time, look at uranium. Look at uranium. I can't give financial advice, but I'm saying to you, look at uranium. This is just showing us that a cost of living, as you see it, you're in the US, maybe you're in Canada, you're in the UK, and you see cost of living rising. Well, the same situation is happening in the United Arab Emirates. It's happening everywhere. This is Dubai, this article. Free hot bread distribution for the poor has been introduced in Dubai. Unbelievable. Okay, in a place where so many people are doing well, you see the grand disparity. And this is just one example. It's like a bread line with, people just being able to get their free bread, just to be able to subsist. They printed trillions upon trillions of dollars, and people need to get free bread. I just want you to think of that for a moment. While overall sentiment is stable, check this out, okay? This reading highlights a shift in American spending. It's talking about, debt and everything about that. In a shift in American spending habits amid another month of price increases. Hey, everyone is good. Don't worry about it. Sentiment is stable. There's a significant increase in the number of Americans who are withdrawing from their savings more than usual and investing or saving money less than usual. This should be a warning to everybody. Yeah, they say, oh yeah, the title's everything's all good. The 3/4 of the article says it's fantastic. And then you read the fine print and it says what the truth is. That more people today are unable to save, are unable to invest, okay? And then at the same time, they basically need to go into debt. They're using their credit cards more than ever. The expansion of what they have right now has been of great concern. This is an issue because they're always in debt. but now it's just getting to such a really, truly bad degree, okay? Now, I want to look at this next one. Best Buy, Home Depot, lock up goods to fight theft. This is happening all over the place. You're seeing it worse in some cities than others, but we are looking at this. I saw spam being locked up. I've shown you that before. Basic essentials being locked up. Like the things that are like $5 are being locked up right now just because they might have a problem in that store. So hey, we gotta lock it up. This shows you that the prosperity has declined, that prices have increased, and people are truly hurting. If you understand what happens with real estate as it moves through a cycle, it gives us a little bit of insight as to what the consumer is doing. And the consumer is absolutely essential for the economy. So right now, we look at what's happening with the signals. And number one, mortgage rates have gone too high for most people. Prices cannot accelerate in this environment, okay? Mortgage rates too high. People are saying, no, I want out. Total slowdown begins, but those on the fringe will fail. So you get that slowdown happening, prices start falling in your area, you see that. However, you look at it more clearly and you start to see those that have taken too much risk actually collapse, actually fail, and you will see bankruptcies and this and that. But that happens on the fringe. If it makes its way in, then you've got a real issue. Okay, looking for the true excess, the extremes, the leverage, the desperation in these areas here, all will be apparent as rates remain elevated. So if you get these 7% mortgage rates, if you see this for a long period of time, well then you've got an issue. Look, if interest rates, look at where they are today. Look at interest rates. Look at inflation rates, depending how you measure it. If we get on the CPI a zero for inflation for the rest of the year, which it's not going to happen, right? But 0%, then the actual inflation rate will still be in the fives. So even if you get no inflation through this period here, no growth on inflation year over year, you will still have inflation above 5%, and that means the Fed funds rate will still not be where it needs to be. Okay, hope you got that. If the Fed sells too many mortgage-backed securities, this will create major disruptions because no investor will want to buy them, especially when they're selling. So if the Fed is selling that garbage, well then, who's going to buy it? Nobody will. And that creates disruptions within this market as well. Stay away, this is you, the individual, stay away from getting into big debt, leverage, or margin at this time. You don't want anything to do with that right now. Let's hold back, let's hold off, let's pay down any of those high interest rate debts right now. Let's take the time to try and build a scalable business or learn a high income skill. If you appreciated this message, you gotta do me one favor right down there. There's a subscribe button. You gotta hit that. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.